Anyway. So Jeremy. How you doing, Jeremy? Your beard's looking luscious today. And that hat, nailing it. I think he even went to the big boy potty today. Anyway, so Jeremy has a new video about Brie Larson, and this is about him covering articles that are just repeating what he said in his last video on Brie Larson. It's like he's covering people covering him covering Brie Larson. It's very strange. Like, remember, if you missed it, the last video, Jeremy did a video where he's like, Brie Larson's channel is dying. It's not. It's doing fine. In fact, let's take a look at Brie Larson's channel. I always feel weird doing this. Because, like, I am now emotionally invested in the longevity of Brie Larson's channel, which I don't particularly care about, although it's fine. If you like Brie Larson, that's great. Anyway, so she has 431,000 subscribers. Jeremy, at this point, he might be a little bit higher because he's doing a push to, he's doing a push because he's wanting to get to 1 million. He's at 909,000 subscribers. She's had a YouTube channel for about 2 months, maybe 3 months now. 3 months. And in that time, she's gotten a little under half of what Jeremy got in 3 years. Jeremy seems to be very, very upset about this, which is one of the reasons he continues to make tons and tons of Brie Larson content. Also, it gets clicks. I get that. It's the reason I'm making this video. But anyway, he did this whole thing where he was looking at her videos and, like, her videos are pretty well viewed considering she has 431,000 subscribers. Like, this one has 162, 230, 237, 369, 174 from just 2 days ago. She's getting almost half of her subscribers to view her videos in the first 2 days. And that's great. That's really, really good. It depends on the channel a lot of the time. But Jeremy took this and decided, oh, Brie Larson's channel is dying because literally every subscriber she has isn't watching her videos, which of course they're not. That's not typically how YouTube works. Jeremy knows this because if you look at Jeremy's videos, this one from an hour ago has 30,000. Only an hour ago, though. But let's say a day ago, 130, 135, 122, 112, 180. A lot of his videos get fewer views than Brie Larson's, and she has half the subscribers. So anyway, he's super salty, and he made a video the other day like, our channel's dying, and then he pulled up like was it a Polygon article? I don't remember. It was some website that was doing an article about Brie Larson having a YouTube channel, and Jeremy, stretching as he does, went, this is proof that her channel is dying because Polygon wrote an article to promote her! Despite the fact that Jeremy makes Brie Larson content himself because it has really, really good SEO. If you don't know what SEO is, it's search engine optimization. So a lot of people search for Brie Larson because there's people like Jeremy who talk about her all the time, and people like me who talk about Jeremy talking about her all the time. So people get clicks when they write Brie Larson content. Jeremy inadvertently is the cause of articles being written about Brie Larson, and he doesn't know it. And he thinks it's somehow showing that she's doomed. Very strange stuff. So anyway, some of the articles in this video are talking about the same thing. So I think their source was Jeremy. So Jeremy's covering them, covering him, covering her. So I'm going to cover him covering them, covering him, covering her. Let's watch the video. My brain hurts.
Uh-oh, Pescatios. Captain Marvel has a big problem and has perhaps sunk to a new low. Say it.
Are you part of the commentary community now? Is that a thing? I guess. I comment on videos.
Isn't so. Not Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Oh, no. Oh, I just know people are going to be so upset to see another Captain Marvel video on this channel. It's just going to ruin so many days. Well, if your day isn't ruined, make sure you leave a like. And if you haven't yet subscribed, the push to 1 million subscribers is going on right now, and I need you to click that red subscribe button right below the video. If we make it by the end of the year, we're going to do something really special. It can happen, but it can't happen without you. A new article out on Screen Rant says Captain Marvel 2 can learn from Iron Man and Thor to fix its biggest problem.
Oh, this isn't
While
the article
many
I
see
was
problems
talking
with
about.
just how
Later in the video, he talks about the other thing.
powerful Captain Marvel is in the MCU,
Unless I have the wrong video, but I don't think I do.
her biggest issue is lack of accountability.
A few seconds ago, ask Compy with 10 bits, my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Wow, this is such substantive content, Jeremy. Saying uh-oh over and over again? That's really good. Keep going, please.
With Captain Marvel 2 on the horizon, the MCU has the opportunity to recontextualize one of Carol Danvers' biggest issues, taking a cue from one of its biggest heroes. After Phase 3 concluded with a loss of several original Avengers, Phase 4 seems to be founded on introducing new and unique characters moving forward, while also giving more depth to new heroes audiences met during the last few years. In 2019's Captain Marvel is one of the biggest, highest-grossing solo films in the MCU, but it failed to connect with a lot of fans due to the perceived invulnerability of its main character. Even though the sudden...
I don't think that's a problem. I think people who liked Captain Marvel for the most part. People who didn't. And that's completely fine. But I don't feel like that's the problem, because look at someone like Superman. There have been multiple Superman movies that have been really good. The Christopher Reeve ones. And Superman is a mostly invulnerable character, but that doesn't mean that you can't put obstacles in the way of the character that make them vulnerable, whether that's through, like in Superman 2, having him fight General Zod, who is his equal, or whether having someone that he loves be in peril, like Lois Lane, or like having someone else that the character cares about being in trouble. Especially in terms of Captain Marvel 1, she definitely wasn't, like, invulnerable until, like, the end of the movie. And that was her character arc, was realizing how much power she had and being able to use that power, right? That was the climax of the movie. So I'd imagine in Captain Marvel 2, she'll either be going up against someone who can match her in power, or it'll be a situation where it's someone who, like, is really, really smart and has some brilliant plan that causes issues for her. That's the two ways you can do. You can either go General Zod and have an equal, or you have a Lex Luthor who's going to come up with some plan that's going to psychologically mess with the hero. That's how you do something like this, Jeremy. It's not even new.
Escalation of her powers and abilities was worked into the narrative, it still resulted in the stakes of the movie feeling rather low and left its villains looking insignificant. Avengers Endgame took this even further with more experienced versions of Captain Marvel, culminating in the last-minute show-off between Carol Danvers and Thanos himself.
Daddy Sume with 10 bits, or a magic user who can circumvent their powers like Doctor Strange. Sure.
Which was who that punch.
That works especially with Superman, because he's vulnerable to magic.
You needed the Power Stone to do it, but it was still nice to see. I mean, it was interesting.
Yeah, Jeremy, that's how it works. She's very powerful. She got her powers, if you even paid attention during the movie. I don't know how much you paid attention. She got her powers from the Space Stone, so sure, her powers are powered by an Infinity Stone. She's very powerful. And yeah, Thanos did punch her with another Infinity Stone. That was part of the movie.
Although many fans claim Carol's powers are a major issue with their...
Ask Compu. You could do both. A villain that goes the Lex Luthor route, but when they lose, reveals themselves to be equally powerful as a hero. I guess. I feel like that's a little... I don't know. Like, Thanos is already that. I feel like Thanos is smart, but he's also, like, as strong as the Hulk. I feel like he can't just keep doing that. Whatever it is, I'd imagine. The recent Marvel movies have been pretty darn good. I think that they'll have good writing in Captain Marvel 2. And I enjoyed Captain Marvel 1, but I get it. It felt very origin story syndrome. You know, it's like, okay, here's our hero. They're learning about who they are and their powers. Here's maybe some friends we meet along the way. By the end of the movie, they come into their own and, like, realize their full potential. We've seen that a million times. I think Captain Marvel 2 will probably be the more entertaining of the two movies, even though I like the first one.
Character, there's simply a part of who the character is and needs to be written in a way that's compelling. One of the ways I can do this is by taking lessons from both Iron Man and Thor, both powerful characters who had to answer for the actions they'd taken in the past. Captain Marvel's immense power in the MCU certainly makes it hard to find physical threats who could take her on.
I don't think that's true. I'd imagine, and I haven't really read the Captain Marvel comics. Someone sent me the trade paperbacks of some Captain Marvel. The ones more or less that the Captain Marvel movie are sort of based on. I know they're not one-to-one in any way, shape, or form, but it's the one where Captain Marvel gets the more modern version of her costume. And I plan on reading those at some point, but I haven't. But I'd imagine that there are a multitude of Captain Marvel villains that match her. Captain Marvel villains. And even if they don't, by the way, I don't know if you know this, Jeremy, you can write new villains. You can just make up characters that are as powerful or more powerful. 10 best Captain Marvel villains. Let's see. Nitro. Nitro may not be as big of an adversary to Carol Danvers, but fans of Captain Marvel's first iteration, Mar-Vell, know Nitro as the man who killed Captain Marvel. Nitro's powers involve him being able to ignite his body to blow up, only to recover shortly after. Oh, this is the guy. He started Civil War. Oh, God. For those who haven't read Civil War, if you don't know how it happened in the comics, it's very different than it is in the movies. In the comic Civil War, it starts because a group of heroes, I think it's either the West Coast Avengers or maybe the Midwest Avengers, I don't know. Either way, they're fighting Nitro near a playground, and Nitro blows himself up and kills a bunch of kids, and that's what starts Civil War. It's so stupid.
Funny about the tools of
we need Snowflame. Oh God, I know exactly who you're talking about too. The superhero, or the supervillain rather, who is powered by cocaine. Yeah. We can Google that in a second. Andrew Dickerson. I think seeing the dynamic between Carol and Kamala will be interesting. I just hope they have a good villain, yeah. Ask Compu, there's more than one Infinity Stone. If she got her powers from one, it's entirely plausible someone else got powers from another. Sure, sure. Squirrel Girl can beat everyone. That's canon. Snowflame! Snowflame. Anyway, so here's Snowflame. Here he is powering up with his cocaine. Oh, it's like a Miami Vice Snowflame. That makes sense. Here he is with more cocaine. So yeah, Snowflame, real comic book villain that exists, is powered by cocaine. Anyway, Doomsday Man. That's a stupid name. Comic books are dumb. I love them. This devastating droid of destruction is a deep space machine sent far into space. It became sentient, however, and became a dangerous asset. When acquired by AIM and MODOK, this sentient machine became a core weapon in the quest to acquire the Cosmic Cube. Before fusing with the villain Destructor, who was fused to the machine thanks to the same forces that blended Danvers' DNA with Mar-Vell's, this machine started as a Silver Surfer villain before becoming a reoccurring adversary of Carol Danvers. So there's one. Genis Vell. What makes Genis Vell such an effective antagonist is how he is in essence the rightful follow-up to his father's legacy. He was born to be Captain Marvel, yet he lacks the humanity to be worthy. He takes the mantle from Monica, who to her credit thinks Genis Vell can be a worthy follow-up, only to prove very, very unstable and unworthy. So that could be adapted to the movies in some way. Like, maybe, like, Mar-Vell, because Mar-Vell's very different in the movie. In the movie, Mar-Vell is like oh God, what's the word I'm thinking of? Is a, it's like a role model. It's not the word I'm thinking of, but close enough. Is like a role model person to Carol Danvers and is a woman. In the comics, Mar-Vell was a man. He was an alien man who dated Carol Danvers, and when he died, his powers went to her. Mentor, that's the word, yeah. I don't know why I was blanking. Cascadia93. People ask me why I hate Western comics, and I literally have to put in no effort to show them why. Oh boy, do we want to... I don't even know enough about manga to make fun of it, but manga is just as stupid. Don't act like Eastern, like, comics are some bastion of, like, not stupid stuff. Anyway, you could adapt this. Show that maybe Marvel had a kid who also somehow maybe got powers, because in the movies they get powers differently. But clearly Marvel had the Space Stone for a while, considering she built the big engine thing out of it. So maybe we find out that prior to Carol Danvers getting Captain Marvel powers, Marvel's kid also gets them, and for some reason hates Carol Danvers and wants to kill her. I don't know. I'm not a writer. But the point is you can adapt these things. Titanus. Captain America is the result of mankind's search for a superhuman. Titanus is that only for Skrulls. Titanus made his entrance on Earth known by destroying Tokyo, believing it to be a good way to draw attention to the world's superheroes. It wasn't. Cascadia 93. I never said manga was good. Okay, good. Super Skrull would also work, although Super Skrulls has Fantastic Four powers, so that would probably come in later.
There's nothing funny
the Supreme Intelligence. Oh yeah, the Supreme Intelligence is still out there somewhere too. She didn't kill the Supreme Intelligence or anything in the movie. So they could just like embody the Supreme Intelligence and have that be a villain. So we have some other ones. Oh, Mystique. But that's an X-Man and they're not going to introduce Mystique in Captain Marvel. The point is, comic books are a huge well to draw from in terms of villains, and Captain Marvel has been a character for a while now. You can pull any of those villains and any of those conflicts and adapt them for the screen. Can we not act like it is impossible to make a movie about a very powerful character? Like, it's just not the case.
It isn't a handicap that prevents her films from being good. The MCU is filled with unfathomable...
Andrew Dickerson says, manga is equally stupid, but they're easier to get into since most mangas don't require you to read 40 years of material from various series. Most comics don't either, honestly. Most runs, or most, like, trade paperbacks, you could probably pick up and get it. Superman movies exist, yeah.
Fathomably powerful characters, from Doctor Strange's near mastery over reality to Scarlet Witch's devastating chaos magic. The fact that Carol's infused with the power of the cosmic cube makes her one of the few characters prepared to take on bigger and more menacing threats.
In the MCU, the Space Stone was inside of a cube that looked like the cosmic cube, but that does not make it the cosmic cube.
Laying waste.
I take umbrage with that statement.
In the larger Marvel canon. However, one problem that is left unresolved by the first film is the horrific actions that Carol was complicit in a result of her service to the Kree Star Force. While the movie's initial setup makes it seem as if the Kree are engaged in a brutal battle with the shape-shifting Skrulls, it's ultimately revealed that the Skrulls are simply refugees searching for a new home, making the Kree the clear aggressors. This, of course, gives Carol the initial initiative to rebel against the oppressive Kree suppressors and help them protect the Skrulls. But it doesn't exactly absolve her of everything she was culpable in before. That's right. Captain Marvel should apologize. Absolutely. We need more apologies from our...
Jeremy, do you not understand that characters, like, have problems in their past that they then address? Like, Tony Stark. Hello? Every single Tony Stark Iron Man movie involved him fighting someone who he created by his own arrogance. Like, Obadiah Stane, I think that was his name, like, is arguably the exception, but he's basically a stand-in for the kind of evil, like, money-making weapon person, ironmonger, that Tony was. So he fights basically a version of himself in the first movie. In the second movie, Iron Man deals with the fact that his father wasn't the good person that a lot of people think he was, and therefore you end up with Ivan Vanko coming back with the plans for the arc reactor that both his father and Tony's father developed with his own, and then he fights Tony Stark. The third movie, Tony Stark messes up with Killian, who is sort of the fake Mandarin, and it's his arrogance that causes him to develop this, like, weird fire power thing that, you know, Iron Man 3 is kind of a weird movie. But again, Iron Man's, like, thing, it was dealing with people that are enemies with him because of his past choices most of the time. This even carried over into Spider-Man 2, where we have Quentin Beck, who is a disgruntled ex-employee of Tony Stark, right? Heroes dealing with their mistakes of the past in the present is a common trope. I don't know why you're acting like, because this is Captain Marvel and you're talking about it, you're like, oh ho ho ho, we better get mad at Captain, like, okay, first of all, Captain Marvel is a character. Calm down. Secondly, yeah, it would make sense in a sequel considering she was part of the Kree, like, battle force or whatever. It would make sense for her to be, like, atoning for that stuff. That's not like a gotcha to the first Captain Marvel movie. That's literally building on elements of the character from the first movie. What? It's like he thinks that pointing out, hey, this would be an interesting thing to put in the movie, is going, ah ha ha ha, see everyone, Captain Marvel isn't as perfect as you thought she was. Like, bud, no one thinks Captain Marvel is a perfect character. Like, she was part of a war that killed a ton of people. Like, duh. Yeah, he made Ultron. He also did technically make the Vulture by forming damage control. Yeah. A lot of things in the MCU are Tony Stark's fault.
Are fictitious superheroes. We need them to go on apology type tours. We need to really get some level of cancel culture going in the MCU, because
Jeremy, you are stretching so hard and this is painful to listen to. Jeremy, imagine if after Iron Man like 1 came out, I made a video where someone's like, "Hey, I wonder if any of Tony Stark's like characters are gonna, you know, come back and bite him because of his character flaws that he kind of overcame in the first movie, but like not entirely. He still did bad things in the past." And imagine that you go, yes, we need to cancel culture Tony Stark. Like, bud, some of the like most important parts of storytelling in the MCU have come from like exploring the character's past. Look at even like the Scarlet Witch came about because of that. Her whole backstory, her and Quicksilver in the MCU, involves like a Stark missile killing their parents and them wanting revenge on Tony Stark. This also ties into Ultron and also ties into Tony Stark because he's like upset that he effed up Ultron, creating Vision. Like, dude, storytelling, especially comic book storytelling, so often involves examining the flaws of your character and having them face them. Not even just comic book storytelling. Any kind of long-form storytelling. Doctor Who does this too. The show's really old. You saw this in Capaldi's, like, "Am I a good man?" speeches. Like, examining the flaws of your character is a good thing to do. It gives them depth. It shows that they aren't a perfect individual, and this is something Marvel has always done well in the comics and the movies. And you're treating it like people are going like, "Ah, we're gonna cancel culture a fictional character." It's ridiculous. You sound like such a jackass.
because ultimately it's really depressing that we don't see more twitlongers coming from our superheroes.
There's nothing
Look,
funny about the tools of capitalism.
Cascadia93 with 10 bits. Superman's entire comic series is realizing and dealing with the fact that he's untouchable and realizing that. I haven't really read a lot of Superman, so.
I have been on record as saying I'm a massive Captain Marvel fan. You can't convince anyone differently simply because I have just the sheer amount of videos on this channel that prove and support my position. But
how embarrassed do you think he still is that he had so much of his reputation on the line in terms of the whole get woke go broke thing and the lead up to Captain Marvel and how he was like, this is going to be a failure. This is going to be one of Marvel's biggest blunders. And it winds up being one of the most profitable Marvel movies. 23rd highest grossing movie of all time. 1.1 something billion dollars. You think he's embarrassed about that, or do you think he shoved that feeling real deep down inside, where only... oh god, where only the basement P can find it?
I honestly don't think it's reasonable to go so far as to demand apologies from our superheroes. But
it's not about... Jeremy, in your head, do you think the scenario here goes where, like, the movie credits roll, and then there's, like, a 5-minute PSA where Captain Marvel in character comes on screen and goes, I just want to apologize for all the Kree children, or for all the Skrull children I murdered in their beds? No, Jeremy, this comes out of, like, storytelling. So presumably in, like, Captain Marvel 2, maybe there's, like, a Skrull bad guy who comes out, even though the Skrulls were, like, turned out to be the good people in the first movie, like, everyone of a certain species isn't one thing or another. Maybe there's someone who there was a mission where Captain Marvel went out when she worked for the Kree and did something terrible because she was still at the time under the assumption that these Skrulls were evil. And that, like, Skrull grew up to have some Skrull superpower or whatever, and decides to take revenge on Captain Marvel. That's an interesting plot, because then you have to deal with Captain Marvel fighting an individual who is probably right in their assessment that Captain Marvel did terrible things, but she has to, like, deal with that and try and come to a solution. Maybe not even necessarily with, like, destroying that villain, but, like, I'd assume there'd be fights because it's, like, an action Marvel movie. But maybe in the end they come to the understanding, maybe another worse thing happens and they have to team up or something, and come to the understanding that, yes, I did terrible things and I am so sorry, I didn't know it was happening, but we don't have to fight each other. That's fine. That's an interesting plot, right? Jeremy is so obtuse when it comes to, like, stuff like this that he pretends that every time someone brings something up like this, he imagines the stupidest version possible.
There's nothing funny about the
like
tools of
Captain Marvel being canceled. No, it's just an opportunity for storytelling, and they might go a completely different way with it. I have no idea. The point is, Jeremy, that you are so salty that you were wrong about the first Captain Marvel movie that you're making the same mistakes all over again. All you're doing is being like, let me stew in my pee basement and get mad about things that I think are going to happen. You know, it's... Jeremy, when Captain Marvel 2 comes out, and it's going to make a decent amount of money, assuming comic book movies are still popular when that comes out, I have no idea, and you're just going to look as stupid as you did the first time. Why continue to make the same mistakes? Very strange. Teaming up, what is this, Dragon Ball? You missed the basement pee. Give me context. Did you miss the time we watched Jeremy get sloshed on stream and he peed in his basement on the floor? That happened, if you don't know. I have it somewhere on my YouTube channel. Go find it if you want. Have I ever told you the definition of insanity, Jeremy?
As Brie Larson's YouTube career begins to dwindle.
So far, we only have one video in the Chud Watch Hall of Fame, and it's that time Caitlin Bennett got run out of campus. But I'm telling you, the day Captain Marvel 2 breaks $1 billion, or the day Brie Larson gets more subscribers than Jeremy, whichever comes first, Jeremy's reaction is probably going to make it into the Chud Watch Hall of Fame. I have a feeling.
News outlets accused of simping.
This is what I was talking about. So Jeremy is now covering an article that is using him as a source in order to make a video about Brie Larson. It's like a snake eating its own tail. You look into it and you can see the universe. Like, dude, the person who's accusing Brie Larson of simping is you. They're talking about the video you made the other day. You're reading an article about how you accused someone of something, and then using that to say, like, I was right. You can't use yourself as a source.
Oh, no. I couldn't imagine that. Why? Who would simp for Brie Larson outside of me? I mean, I suppose there's plenty of room in the Brie Larson simp train, but not Sportskeeda. The 30-year-old American actress has won an Academy Award, a Golden Globe. Yeah, she's great. Everything about her. Oh, wait a minute.
He's so mad.
It's my video.
Yeah, Jeremy, you're literally reading an article about you. If Jeremy could self-fillet, I don't think he'd ever make another video again. I think he'd just sit in his basement and alternatively pee on the floor and suck himself off.
To make her one of the most prominent high-profile Hollywood stars, despite having around 424,000 subscribers, Brie Larson's YouTube channel hasn't precisely struck gold, as her views seem to be diminishing as late. Keeping this in mind, Jeremy Habley of The Quartering recent release a video where he addressed...
Again, they're just repeating what Jeremy said, which was false information. They're still acting like she's getting, like, bad views on her videos, and they're not. They're quite good for the number of subscribers she has.
This is Brie Larson's YouTube phenomenon. The initial hype died down. Brie Larson's YouTube channel failed to maintain its grip over viewers. According to Social Blade, her channel and subscribers seem to be on the decline. Speaking about the decline, Jeremy Habley, who himself is a huge fan of Brie Larson. It's happening! It's happening!
They're being sarcastic, Jeremy, like you are when you say that. Everyone gets it. Sports Skeeta, or Sports Keeta. I wonder what this website has. Hold on. Sports Keeta. Oh, I really don't like this website's layout. Why did they write an article about Brie Larson? This looks like a sports website. They have like why did they make a Brie Larson video? Their topics are WWE, AEW, which is another wrestling league, UFC, NBA, NFL, Fortnite, GTA, Esports, Cricket, Premier League. Why does this website have an article about Brie Larson? Oh no. Anyway.
Referred to a news article which seemed to promote Brie Larson. Apparently her YouTube is dwindling a bit, and now the mainstream media is trying to revive it. You see this article on Polygon.
Polygon is not the mainstream media. That bothers me more than almost anything else he says in these videos. Oh, Polygon, mainstream media. No one knows what Polygon is except for people on the internet who know of it. And even then, the majority of the people on the internet still don't know about Polygon. I've only ever heard of it. You know the first time I ever read a Polygon article was? When Jeremy mentioned it in that video and I had to go look at it. Like, no one uses Polygon.
A bizarre time to write this Brie Larson article. I wonder why. Why is Polygon another outlet simping for Brie Larson? He then speaks of the declining views. He sums up the video by taking one final shot at Polygon, stunning a brave worship.
No one over the age of 45 knows what Polygon is. Well, Jeremy does. And he's like 40, so that's pretty close.
Brie Larson, multi-millionaire, Hollywood, powerful Hollywood celebrity, needs you to sim for her. Check out other reactions. Really cool that greedy millionaire Hollywood celebrities feel the need to take ad revenue from creators on YouTube.
Oh my god, Jeremy. Brie Larson having a YouTube channel is not taking away views and money from other people. Holy shit, Jeremy. Jeremy, you of all people, especially considering it's giving you so much more Brie Larson content to talk about, and it's given me so much Jeremy Brie Larson content to talk about, it's done quite the opposite. It's been a windfall for channels like you, Jeremy, so stop acting like it's not.
Is this really what Polygon content is coming to? These are all responses to the article. Yes, spoiled actress making millions, making a YouTube channel against the trolls is unparalleled levels of stunning and brave. Okay, check this. Polygon posted this article. Brie Larson's laid-back YouTube channel is a radical act of anti-troll defiance. They're really trying to make it seem like she's against the world, like an underdog. I say she wouldn't be against the world had she not offended it.
Someone said my opinion didn't matter, and now I'm gonna cry for 4 years about it.
Well, it's
Jeremy, Your opinion doesn't matter. It doesn't, and neither does mine. No one's opinion matters anymore. The world is dead. Stop making videos about Brie Larson.
Possible. It's definitely possible. And now we've got a new rumor. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel to appear in a Disney Plus series?
They're making a Nick Fury series, so it would make sense for her to show up at least once because they were friends.
That's where Captain Marvel has got? She's sunk to Disney Plus? Say it isn't so,
What? Jeremy, a bunch of the movie actors and actresses are being in Disney Plus shows. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier are going to have their own Disney Plus show. Mark Ruffalo is going to be in She-Hulk. What other shows are they doing? They're doing a Miss Marvel series. It wouldn't surprise me if Brie Larson showed up in that, or maybe they'll just wait until a movie and put Miss Marvel in a Captain Marvel movie. I don't know. But like a bunch of the Marvel actors are doing Loki. Loki's getting his own show. It's not a downgrade, Jeremy. They're getting paid like a ridiculous amount of money for probably fewer shooting days. So they're probably making more money, relatively speaking. And Jeremy, aren't you the first person to go to bat for like The Mandalorian, which is a really good show? Like, what? You can't just like be like, all Star Wars is trash except for The Mandalorian, and then also be like, but Brie Larson's going on Disney Plus where The Mandalorian is, so it means she's slumming it. Like, come on, bud. Be a little consistent. They're getting ready to bring in Kid Loki at some point? Maybe. I think the Loki show involves time travel in some way, so it's possible.
Captain Marvel. This via Bounding in a Comic says, sources indicate that Larson will either guest or cameo in an episode, probably the final installment as it's developed to lead into Captain Marvel 2.
That would make sense. They're also doing a thing with WandaVision. I assume you guys saw the trailer for WandaVision. If you didn't, check it out. It looks interesting. That's supposed to lead into Doctor Strange 2. It seems like Disney is definitely trying to do like their TV show stuff and having it like lead into and be related to the movies. Just as much as the movies are to each other, at least.
He then hints that his source will also detail that Larson's Captain Marvel might not be the only Avenger to appear in the show. Sutton explains she might not be the only Avenger. The rumor also follows a separate rumor from Variety that indicated a Disney Plus series was in development starring Samuel L. Jackson. The rumor detailed that Jackson would reprise his role.
Like, Jeremy, do you think that Samuel L. Jackson, one of the most sought-after actors in Hollywood, is slumming it because he's on Disney Plus? Or do you think that Disney is intent on building their streaming platform and so they're writing blank checks to these people? Which seems more likely to you, Jeremy, that Samuel L. Jackson, out of the goodness of his heart, is going to, like, downgrade himself, or Disney is putting a bunch of money into creating premier movie-quality TV shows on their streaming service? Cascadian 93, AEW is the superior of all those organizations. They have a trans woman, Nyla Rose, in their women's division, and a genderqueer NB person, Sunny Kiss, in their tag team division. We stan AEW. I've heard they're a lot better to their employees than WWE, who doesn't even treat them as employees. I guess they're private contractors, which seems silly.
As the one-eyed clandestine ops commander, Nick Fury from the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Variety's rumor including Nick Fury show follows previous rumors that it has dated to at least 2 years ago. Back in 2018, scooper Jeremy Conrad ran a rumor that claimed Nick Fury would be involved in an upcoming Disney Plus show. Well, I'm sure. And, you know, if Captain Marvel has been reduced to appearing on a Disney Plus...
Jeremy, why are you phrasing it as reduced? It's not reduced. She's doing it on top of Captain Marvel 2. Is Nick Fury reduced to doing a TV show? Or do you think they're trying to put their movie people in the TV shows in order to, like, build up the base of their Disney Plus streaming service? Same thing with The Mandalorian. They got Baby Yoda, who isn't a real actor, but people are like, oh, look, it's Yoda. And they have a bunch of other people on that show. Werner Herzog is in The Mandalorian, which is so weird. Jeremy, I know you're mad. I know you're still salty that you were wrong about Captain Marvel, and you continue to be. But, bud, please stop. Please stop. Like, how shitty are you gonna feel when Captain Marvel 2 comes out and still makes a bunch of money? You're gonna feel like a jackass. Why double down on the mistake you know you already made, is my question. Just very odd.
I, for one, as Captain Marvel's #1 super fan, will make sure that I pay the, what is it, $8 a month and sign up for Disney Plus the second I hear that any confirmation about her cameo on the new channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Oh, God. Jeremy hurts me physically with how embarrassing he is. Like, I'm not trying to exaggerate for humor. It gives me this, like, this butterfly feeling in my stomach that I get this, like, secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, oh God, Jeremy, stop. Every time you speak, you just make it worse for when you get proven wrong. It's so bad. Jeremy's an embarrassing person. On an unrelated note, hey, if you want to subscribe to Brie Larson's YouTube channel, here's a link. Anyway, let's move on, at least for now. Maybe we'll come back to Jeremy later.